Deep within the remote and snowy Bavarian countryside, a lonely, isolated farmstead held a dark secret. In the bitter winter of 1922, the Gruber family began noticing very strange, unsettling occurrences. Mystifying footprints emerged from the dense forest, leading straight toward the main family home. Terrifyingly, the mysterious tracks in the snow led to the house but never led back. Andreas Gruber searched the property with his old shotgun, but found absolutely no one there. Strange, heavy footsteps echoed clearly from the attic rooms during the middle of the night. A set of brass house keys suddenly vanished from the kitchen counter without any explanation. Andreas also discovered a strange, unfamiliar newspaper lying on his porch that he never bought. The previous maid had fled the farm in absolute terror, claiming the property was haunted. On March 31st, a brand new maid arrived to begin her daily work at Hinterkaifeck. Hours later, an unseen, patient predator would initiate a calculated night of absolute, total horror. One by one, 4 family members were lured out into the dark barn that evening. The killer was waiting silently in the shadows, armed with a heavy, sharp mattock tool. Andreas, his wife Cecilia, their daughter Victoria, and young Cecilia were all brutally executed. The attacker then walked calmly into the main house to finish his horrifying, deadly mission. The new maid was targeted in her bed, passing away just hours after her arrival. Finally, the killer entered the nursery, taking the life of innocent 2-year-old Joseph. What happened over the next 4 days is the most bizarre aspect of this case. The unknown killer didn't flee the farmstead. Instead, they decided to stay inside the house. Smoke was seen rising from the chimney, and the farm animals were meticulously fed daily. The killer ate meals from the family kitchen while 6 victims lay out in the barn. Neighbors grew deeply suspicious when the Gruber family failed to appear for Sunday church services. Young Cecilia also failed to show up for school on Monday morning, raising alarms. On April 4th, a group of townspeople decided to walk over to check the farm. They searched the silent courtyard, calling out names but receiving absolutely no response from within. Entering the dark barn, the search party finally stumbled directly upon the stack of bodies. The horrific discovery sent shockwaves through the quiet, tight-knit rural farming community of Kaifeck. Munich police detectives arrived hours later, quickly establishing a massive, complex homicide investigation scene. Autopsy reports revealed that young Cecilia survived for several hours after the initial attack. She had pulled out tufts of her own hair while trapped in the dark. The absolute coldness of the killer completely baffled the highly experienced city police profilers. Initial theories suggested a robbery gone wrong, but large amounts of cash were left untouched. Police began interviewing hundreds of suspects, including traveling salesmen, vagrants, and local laborers. Attention soon shifted to Victoria's former husband, Karl Gabriel, a World War I soldier. Karl had reportedly been killed in France in 1914, but his body was never found. Several soldiers claimed Karl escaped the trenches and was actively living a secret life. Did he return home to seek ultimate vengeance on the family that forgot him? Another prime suspect emerged named Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a local neighbor with a grudge. Lorenz had previously been in a scandalous relationship with Victoria before the murders occurred. He was also one of the citizens who discovered the bodies in the barn. Neighbors noted that Lorenz behaved very strangely during the discovery, moving items around. Lorenz was aggressively questioned by the state police, but no physical evidence connected him. Over the years, citizens openly accused him, leading to intense local defamation lawsuits. The sheer amount of secrets within the Gruber family clouded the investigation completely. Rumors of incest between Andreas and his daughter Victoria were verified by town records. This deeply toxic home dynamic created countless potential enemies throughout the local region. Was the execution an act of targeted hatred, or a robbery hidden by slaughter? In a desperate move, police sent the victims' heads to clairvoyants in Munich. The spiritual mediums failed to uncover any useful details to assist the investigators. Bizarrely, the severed skulls were completely lost during the chaos of World War II. To this day, the skulls of the Gruber family have never been recovered. Let us revisit the terrifying evidence of the killer living inside the dark attic. Officers found an area in the roof where insulation tiles had been removed. This gave the phantom stalker a perfect view of the courtyard below them. The predator had literally been nesting above the family for days before striking. They listened to every conversation, mapping out the family's exact daily habits. This explains how he managed to lure them out one by one seamlessly. The calculated planning points to an individual with a highly methodical, cold mindset. In 1923, the entirely cursed farmstead property was completely torn down by locals. During the demolition work, workers found the hidden murder weapon under the floorboards. In 2007, a modern police academy in Germany reopened the cold case file. They utilized cutting-edge modern criminological profiling techniques to filter through remaining evidence data. The students successfully narrowed the massive suspect list down to one final individual. However, they chose to keep the killer's name completely anonymous out of respect. The suspect's living descendants are still active in the local Bavarian region today. Therefore, the official name will likely never be released to the general public. The Phantom of Hinterkaifeck remains an enduring mystery in global true crime history. The cold calculation of the slaughter continues to shock modern psychological profilers. How does an entire family vanish inside their own barn without a sound? The terrifying answer lies buried forever under decades of snow and silence. Hinterkaifeck stands as a warning about the hidden dangers of extreme isolation, shifting the mystery from historical facts to chilling local lore. Let us analyze the chilling paranormal stories that surrounded the ruined farm property. Locals claimed to see ethereal lights moving through the woods years after demolition. Some heard the muffled sound of a typewriter echoing across the empty fields. These folklore myths highlight how deeply the community was traumatized by the executions. The slaughter changed the small, trusting valley town of Kaifeck forever. Neighbors began locking their front doors securely for the first time in history. The phantom killer could have been anyone sitting next to them at tavern tables. The lingering paranoia destroyed local friendships and tore entire farming families apart. Trust was completely dead, replaced by an overarching atmosphere of chilling suspicion. The police case archive box remains sitting open, waiting for an absolute resolution. But after a century, the final truth has turned to dust. The Farmstead Horror remains an iron lock without any remaining key. Let us look at an alternate theory involving an escaped convict network. Records show a local prison breakout occurred just 3 miles away that month. The desperate fugitives could have selected the remote farm simply to acquire shelter. This explains why they lived in the attic and consumed family food resources. But it fails to account for the extreme, precision dismemberment of the bodies. Simple thieves do not typically spend hours cleaning bloody kitchen floorboards meticulously. The crimes required an individual with deep personal investment in the family's destruction. It was an act of raw, calculated hatred executed with utter absolute precision. The mystery of Hinterkaifeck will continue to capture minds for centuries to come. 6 lives erased from existence inside a lonely, snow-covered Bavarian farmyard sanctuary. The heavy wooden barn doors are closed forever on the ultimate truth, pushing the narrative into the final, cryptic historical logs. Let us examine those final police logs filed right before the case went cold. Lead Inspector Georg Reingruber left a chilling final note inside the case folder. He wrote, "The killer is still walking among us, watching our every move." The realization caused several local family members to pack up and leave Germany. They fled across the Atlantic Ocean, hoping to escape the Phantom of Kaifeck. But the dark shadow of the farmstead followed them inside their nightmares. The psychological trauma of the event was passed down through multiple generations. Modern authors still visit the empty plot of land, seeking absolute closure. They find nothing but cold wind howling through the old pine tree branches. The soil has completely swallowed any remaining physical trace of the execution barn. The perfect crime requires absolute silence, and Hinterkaifeck achieved exactly that result. The Farmstead Horror remains an open wound across the history of European crime. Let us look out one final time at the beautiful but deadly Bavarian woods. Somewhere out there, the answers are locked away inside a hidden grave site. The killer lived out their days, never answering for their horrific midnight actions. They escaped the law completely, leaving only an enduring legacy of raw terror. This case challenges everything we understand about tracking down patient, methodical predators. How does a killer remain invisible inside a small town for 4 whole days? Perhaps the community chose to look away from the ugly, structural truth. The secrets of Hinterkaifeck are safely frozen inside the dark winter of history. The true story remains a masterpiece of absolute, unfiltered, cold-blooded horror intrigue. 6 souls lost, an identity stolen, and a phantom who completely vanished away.